So, everybody, it looks like Watsy may have done something slightly positive. Now, you guys know me. I'm willing to give them my fair share of crap when they deserve it. Likewise, when they've done something that I feel is good, I'm going to also give them a bravo. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my co host tonight. We've got Synthetic, we've got Z, and we have Death Knight. Synthetic, as a quick elevator mention, what is your sphere of influence in D&D or in the tabletop space?
Well, I have done a lot of design on DM's Guild. The biggest claim to fame that I have is a Mithril bestseller, Feywild Companion.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I've reviewed a few of those here on this channel. And
yes,
I appreciate you sitting in and joining me tonight. Zai, how about you?
I'm not a content creator by any means, just as a hobby, but I'm a relatively new dungeon master. So I've been absorbing content not just from Critical Role but Dimension 20 for a long time, and recently threw my hat into the ring for my friend group who wanted to get started. And then I have basically just hung on to the rails while they make the train tracks as we go.
It is a tough job becoming a new DM. I remember my beginnings well, and I hated it, but the rewards were awesome. I loved it. After the fact, anyway. And Death Knight, welcome to the show. What is your, I guess, sphere of influence in the tabletop role-playing world?
I'm same with Zero. I'm still relatively new. I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons since 2018, 2019. Only been DMing since 2020, but I'm still relatively new, still learning. So, not a content creator by any means, but it's just something that I play with my friends just to have fun and just to tell stories. That's basically it. Tell stories, have fun, cause shenanigans. That's
the point, yeah. So what brings us all together tonight? About 4 hours ago, the new head of Dungeons & Dragons franchise posted a post over on D&D Beyond, and this is what I really want to talk about. So Dan, and forgive me, Dan, if you are watching or if you tune in or if anybody knows Dan, if I mispronounce the last name, it looks like it's Dan Ayub. But he writes an article, Welcome Back to the Table, D&D's New Direction. And he introduces himself, basically states that, he's no stranger to D&D and that he's previously worked with Watsy on their digital products, but has recently become the head of D&D's franchise. He's also been playing D&D since he was about 12 years old, when the basic set got him hooked. Basic set's a great set. And so he knows firsthand the power D&D has to ignite one's imagination and foster friendships. And he goes on to say that he's here to open a dialogue with us, the players, dungeon masters, live stream watchers, and storytellers. That's all of us watching right now. He knows that he recognizes that we have filled taverns with laughter, launched spells across the multiverse, and rolled death saving throws with anxious hearts. So, we have another commenter too. He goes on to say that D&D belongs to us and that Watsy is putting it back where it belongs at our table. So the rest of the article is broken down into that the system belongs to us. The new core rule books were shaped by 10 years of community play feedback and love for 5th edition. The upgrade doesn't replace previous rules, it enhances them. Well, we know that that's not 100% accurate because it does replace some of the previous rules. Okay, that's fine. It's an issue of semantics. I'm not going to argue that point. But it does seem to me, and I will agree with the next statement or the next sentence, it makes the Spill system more player friendly, better to create content for and evolve rather than replace the 5th edition books you already own. I would agree with that 100%. For new DMs, I would say, and as we just went over, Z and Death Knight, y'all can attest to this. I assume you'd both have the new books or new access to the new material.
Yeah, on D&D Beyond.
Okay. So I will say, as a longtime player of the game, I will state that this new version, the 2024 version of the DM's Guide, Player's Handbook Monster Manual are incredibly easy to navigate. They are very user friendly. My only complaint with the Monster Manual is that stuff is not listed in there alphabetically. It's not that like if I look up dragons, I liked the old Monster Manual where all the dragons were under that heading of dragons. Now I have to remember that there's a red dragon and look under R for red dragon. I have to remember that there's a copper dragon, look under C for copper dragon, that kind of thing. That's my only complaint about the new books. We also have another one joining, Drac. Welcome to the show, Drac. And not sure that we heard you, Drac. Are you there? We're not able to hear you. Let me see.
How is that?
That's perfect. Can hear you there. Okay, real quick, we'll take a slight pause from sharing the screen. We'll jump back to it. But Drac, I want you to introduce yourself. Welcome to the show. What is? Oh, you've got some cool terrain and minis in the background too.
Yeah, I've been playing D&D
recognize
since the 80s.
Rock and roll.
I love it. I'm writing stuff. Done a lot of homebrew over the years. And I just absolutely love the game.
Yeah, rock and roll. Yeah, and so you two have had some experience going all the way back to kind of the roots of D&D. How would you say this new 5th edition 2024 core rule book, the DM's Guide, the Player's Handbook, and the Monster Manual, how does it compare to? And I'm assuming you played the 2014 version of D&D.
Yeah,
okay.
Extensively. Yeah.
How do you feel that this new set compares to, or this new edition compares to the original 5th edition?
I'm not fond of the layout of the Monster Manual, like you were saying a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
I like dragons with dragons, demons with demons, devils with devils. I don't like that it's missing some of the species, but that's a personal thing. That's probably an old school thing, but the layout is really nice. They've made it very friendly for people to join the game. I don't like the weapon masteries whatsoever. We don't use them at my table.
Fair enough.
I have a different system though that we've been using, and it's playtesting very well. So it's got several years of playtesting on it. So marshals are definitely deadly, so not an issue there.
Yeah.
But in general, they've done a really good job for a lot of things. They could have taken a little more time and fixed some of the spells. I think they kind of neglected some and missed over others that they had a really great opportunity of doing. But in general, I mean, it's very friendly to get into. It's laid out really nice examples, charts, everything, pictures, So
yeah. Okay. So jumping back in, and I just wanted everybody to get a feel for who all the panelists are here. It then goes on, and this is something that Death Knight, you brought up, that they're talking about the SRD, and in this they're basically stating that they're going to be updating the system reference document on a rolling basis. I would assume as they push out errata, that kind of thing, that in turn is going to get set into the SRD. They're committing to long-term access and support of the resource through the errata project. Okay, there we go. If I could learn to read, I would have already known what they were doing. That it's going to remain up to date with the latest standards and mechanics for creators to use their works. This, I think, is pretty. This particular section is pretty amazing. Starting September 16th, in time for the release of the Heroes of the Borderlands, which is going to be the new box set. If you are registered with D&D Beyond, you can run games on the map's virtual tabletop with no subscription required. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I understand why they're doing that. The first hit is free, and then you end up paying for everything else. It's still cool because I play a lot of games where subscription, that could be considered pay to win, but subscriptions are not necessary to play it. And I still have fun playing it. I'm cheap. I don't have a whole lot of extra income to throw at stuff. So having a free option, I like that. The core experience will be made available to everyone. If you own a map module or adventure on D&D Beyond, you can use it on maps and invite your friends to play, period, which is really cool. So, if the six of us are sitting down and we're playing it, and none of us, we all have a subscription, but none of us are paying for it. Or I have just gotten a copy of one of the maps. I can invite everybody in here and we can play. Nobody has to pay a dime. Well, other than me for having purchased the core material. But I like that. And I'm going to get comments from everybody. I just kind of want to go, down the list real quick of kind of what Dan has pointed out here in this post. From the community, for the community, he's basically stating that they're laying out groundwork for a new initiative that's going to bring community voices direct into the room. The goal is to create a rotating advisory group made up of creators, publishers, educators, and fans who can help shape the future tools, policies, and content in a real ongoing way. Kind of curious to see exactly what he means by that and how transparent that, I don't know, I'll call it a committee or community. I'll be curious to see how transparent that's going to be. They're still finalizing the structure and process, but it's not a one-time survey or a PR move. It's about building lasting collaboration with the people who make D&D what it is. Now, I will say, where was it? That Goths in Rome, I can always count on Goths for giving some negative. He states, this is some very well-written PR content. And that is a very tongue-in-cheek statement. He's a very suspicious person of WotC. And that's okay. And then he goes on to state that at D&D, we understand the community is the beating heart of the game we all love. I mean, listen, we've got, 6 people here right now. I've got 11 people watching. Okay, I don't have a huge community, but it is a community. It is a group of people that enjoy playing role-playing games. If your cup of tea is not Dungeons and Dragons specifically, there's still, if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you like playing role-playing games. And yeah, I mean, the guy is right. Dan is correct. The community is the beating heart of role-playing games, specifically in this context, D&D. But then he goes on to state, we've stumbled before. We've learned from it. And now we're committed to clear communication, more transparency, and consistent support for players, creators, and publishers.
Excuse me 1 second.
This is just the beginning. This new direction for D&D is already underway. We're here to earn your trust, not ask for it. And I like that. We're here to earn your trust, not ask for it. We're building a game that honors the past, listens to the present, opens new doors for the future together. We're investing long-term in this game, this community, and the stories we collectively tell. Means better digital tools, more open development, and more content built alongside players. We'll see you at the table. So with that all said, I want to hear some opinions. Synthetic, we'll kind of go around the clock here. Synthetic, with all of that said, and I'm not gonna put anybody on the spot. I'm not going to ask you if you've had a past beef with WotC. I want y'all to speak your minds. If you have had a past beef with WotC, feel free to say it. If you'd prefer not, that's fine too. But what we've just looked over, what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, I have a deep mistrust of WotC in general, and that's dating back many, many years. I didn't like what they did with 4th edition, where they almost turned D&D into subscription model.
Sure.
I didn't like the OGL situation that happened. But even like simpler things, he talks about updating the SRD, having it with errata. So as a creator of content, you will see on DM's Guild, if you get a supplement, it's going to have 13 subclasses. If you see something that goes out on Backer Kit or Kickstarter, it's going to have 12 subclasses. It's the Artificer.
Mm-hmm.
There are very simple things that they could do to earn the trust of the community. One of them being to release all of the classes to people other than WotC. Like, just simple thing out of the gate.
Right.
That type of move would be something that would earn my trust going forward.
Okay. And Z?
I'm kind of with Synthetic. A long time ago, they lost my trust when they closed down all their stores. Long time ago when I used to play Magic the Gathering more. But with everything that they did with the OGL and everything, that really made the groups that I play with really consider transitioning over to Pathfinder, Aliens, anything Free League, things like that, because everyone's like, well, if they're just dunking on everything, then why should we stay? All the creators out there who make all of these things, all of these subclasses and everything, who participate, they're going to just essentially get cut out. Though this, I know why they're making the move to the freemium subscription for D&D Beyond, because they're trying to compete with Roll20 and Foundry, where myself, who runs campaigns on Roll20, I've purchased a bunch of modules there, so all of my friends can use my books, my virtual books.
Right.
And so this is a very small step in the right direction, but I'm still very hesitant to see if they decide to just fall backwards again.
And I think that's an excellent point. I'm trying to spin in a slight positive here, but I'm also not willing to go, full hook, line, and sinker into it. I agree with you 100% with what you're saying. I too am very skeptical. Right now, these are words, and I come from, my viewpoint is, I've always felt that actions speak louder than words. And the actions that WotC has given us over the years, that is what has put the distaste, the distrust, and the hesitancy in my mind with them. And it stems, like Synthetic, what you were saying, and Z, what you were saying about the OGL, and the Magic the Gathering. I mean, oh my God, charge what, $1,000? Was it $1,000 for cards that you can't even use? For their, I still can't get over that. I mean, that one still just blows my mind. So it's going to be interesting. I appreciate the words that Dan has put. At this point, I'm ready to see action back them up to fully, and that's, I want to say on record, I'm not willing to give them 100% of my trust. I'm like, okay, I'll put my toe in the water to see if the temperature, you're telling me the temperature's fine. I'm not going to just jump into it and see. I'm going to put my little toe in there to see. But anyway, that's my 2 cents there. Anyway, Death Knight.
Like I said, I've only been doing D&D for the last 5 years or so, and I haven't had any bad experiences with this yet. But I think the only example I can point is Vecna, Eve of Ruin. I think that was something that starting to be let down from Wizards, because I was looking forward to seeing this awesome adventure about Vecna and all that, and it was like, you see him only in one battle?
This is what we got?
Yeah, this is what we got?
Yeah.
What? He doesn't even pay attention to us in the final battle. He's just like, I'm in the middle of a ritual, don't interrupt me.
Yeah, he can't even be bothered to look at the characters.
Yeah, and that's really my only thing. I think the only other thing I think of is when it was like they're introducing new rules and they've done a bunch of changes. It's like, do I have to use these? Can't I just stick to what I like? They weren't very clear on how they were approaching the new core rules.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, you know that they had to, at least at that point when the Vecna book came out, you know that they were already developing and probably already had the proof copies in hand and had them in hand for the new 2024 books. And when I look back at, you know, the Vecna adventure specifically, I don't know that there's too much in it that really shakes hands with the new 2024 stuff, but I don't know. I might have to do that a little more deeper in depth. I've got my own opinions, and anybody that's been a fan of this channel knows, you know, the depth that I went to about that entire Vecna adventure. But I don't know. I may try to put on some different glasses and look at it again. You know, now that it's been about a year out. So
Yeah,
anyway,
because they have on D&D Beyond, they actually have listed on the books compatible with new rule set, but it's like,
right.
what exactly is it that's compatible?
Yeah, the
It's
story,
one thing to label it, it's another thing to actually explain why it's compatible.
right? Yeah, I mean the story's compatible.
To an extent.
I mean, okay. Drac, how about you? What's your thoughts on Dan's article here?
So at face value, it's trying to bring people back to D&D Beyond, right?
Yeah.
They lost a lot. The OGL cost them lots, like, you know, like a half or a quarter or whatever it was of their subscribers. This is a PR to kind of get people to go back and say, hey, look at, we're trying to do things in a positive way for you guys. Face value, it might work out really nicely for people trying to be positive about it. But really, I think it's, you know, like, get these people in here so that they, you know, spend their money on our stuff. Or the, you know, they're adding a lot of third-party books. They look like they've just gone down the Kickstarter list. And, you know, they're making 30 or 40% off of those guys or whatever it happens to be. And so it's a great way for them to make money again and rebuild all that loss from all people canceling their subscriptions. Does it give you players more tools and stuff? Yes. So if they make money and they keep producing hopefully better content, or the third party people bring in their content and make things better, then we could have a positive experience with this. But
Sure.
it's dip and watch and see, because you know, we get a new boss or a new person at Hasbro, and then we could be looking at loss of everything that we've taken time to invest in. So yeah.
And Robert Gray states that everything else comes down to implementation, and that's exactly what we were talking about just a few minutes ago too. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, they can say this, words, you know, do have meaning, but my experience, it's always been, you know, actions are going to speak louder than words. And real quick, Don Toro asks, I'm missing context. What was the positive thing that they've done? So for those of you that are just coming in, I'll go ahead and give you, this is the link to, there we go. This is the link that's to the article that we're discussing. And again, I'll share this up on screen. We're all going to get real small here for a second, for a bit, while we pop this back up. But this is basically the article that we're talking about, and it's one that was written by Dan, who is the new head of the D&D franchise, and it's basically just talking about how they're, you know, Wizards of the Coast has listened to us, the fans of the game, and they want to do a better job. You know, that's the basics of it. You know, and we've already stated this once, but I like the. I want to find the one specific. Yeah, here. We've stumbled before, we've learned from it, and now we're committed to clearer communication, more transparency, and consistent support for players, creators, and publishers. And I think that, like Synthetic, I mean, you know, you are a creator, you are a publisher of D&D material, you know, as a third party. And I would be very curious to see where this specific statement that I've got highlighted on screen, I would be very curious to see this specific statement and how it impacts, or what is actually changed, say, a month down the line, specific to you, you know, and to your creative process and to the avenues that you have access to get your third party stuff published. I would also be very curious to see. I mean, and so to be clear, I mean, you haven't seen anything in your inbox direct from WotC, covering anything, have you, as a creator?
I would love to see anything from WotC ever, other than marketing emails that we
Right.
all get, of course. But there was a program where you would do Adventures League adventures,
Hmm.
and there was some greater support from that. But talking like real getting down into the weeds, like they've had packs of assets that you can use
Yep.
for DM's Guild, and they rarely update them. They're
Yeah, I think
all like old edition art.
yeah, it's like what from I think. Well, I mean, the fifth edition came out in 2014. I think the asset pack is what from 2019,
That sounds right.
maybe
Somebody
somewhere
might
around
be
there.
able to check me on that, but
Yeah.
like and it's got some of my favorite art. Well, like one of my personal favorite books is the Monster Manual 2 from 3.5.
Hmm.
And it had a lot of the art from there in that asset pack. But there isn't, like, for instance, there could be a style guide out there for D&D.
Hmm.
There could be more support to make it less of a daunting task to get started.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, like a I don't want to call it a master class, but a program for
Yeah.
creators. If you're interested in creating content, here are some specific tools on how to go about doing that, or a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
Because I mean, creating like, okay, so Death Knight and Z. I'm going to jump over to you guys real quick. So as newer DMs, you guys are still. I mean, you guys are creating content or creating adventures. I'm assuming, yeah. And when you do that, I mean, I'm sure you're doing it old school, like everybody else always has for years. You may be typing the stuff out on the computer, or you may be writing it down in a notebook. Then you're flipping to this book. You're researching it. Okay, well, what am I? You're doing all the fun little nitty gritty stuff to put that adventure together. Have either of you ever considered or thought about or dreamed about, man, last Saturday night's game was so awesome. How cool would it be if I sat down and I put this adventure together and sold it to make money? Has that thought, fleeted even through your minds? I know it has for Drag, because it has for me. And we've been doing this for, I mean, anybody who's been a DM for a long time, you're going to think, how can I monetize this? How could I get paid for this? So
It was for me at one point.
Yeah. Well, and you did it.
Like I said, I've only been doing this a bit, but there have been a couple of games where the story, like I've been in a couple of homebrew games. Like for example, I'm in currently one that's one of my friends is running. It's a Sekai one, so like samurai, very Eastern style,
Mhm.
and the story is really good. Like a lot of the the mythology creatures, gods, characters is all based on mythology, and it's if my friend actually decides to build this world properly and all that, they could actually make a bit of money from it if they decide to actually make it as a product. So yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, and well, the campaign that I'm DMing currently takes place in Exandria. I gave my players the option of, do we want to stick on the rails and do Call of the Netherdeep, or do you want to do completely homebrew at this point? And they chose go off rails, and ever since then it's been I write multiple paragraphs, pages of like what I think they could do, and every time they always just toss all that out the window and
Yep.
just go off and do their own thing. I'm like, okay, well, this is fun. And in one of the most recent sessions, just as because everything's been getting pretty heavy, I have a fun section set up where they're in a small town and they're doing a Great British Bake Off type thing that they have to do that does somewhat correlate to the overall everything, but it's
Sure.
just a way for them to decompress after all the multiple battles that they've gone through and the political intrigue. This is them to have fun, and they said that this was probably the most fun that they've ever had. One of the characters that all the characters that I've made, they latched on to a young Goliath whose pet is a goat that he carries around with him. And they're like, can he join us as a party member? I'm like, no, he cannot. he cannot do that. I'm not doing a DMPC. I know how that goes. Not good.
So, Drac, with this and the history that you've had in playing the game, and I assume you've played other role-playing games too. Let me think of exactly how I want to ask the question. With what we've read and what we've seen, what we've kind of discussed here, do you think that this is a step in the right direction, or do you think, contrary to what Dan wrote, is this just simply a PR move?
I think he's trying to step in the right direction. If it's true and he loves the game and he's played for 12 years or whatever it is, and has got some good, time under his belt, he's going to want to see it do well. So I'm really hoping that we're going in the right direction. We're going to see all these different creators come in, or make new books, and they'll bankrupt me a little bit more. And because apparently I need to buy synthetic stuff now. But if they do it right, they'll build a bigger community that's around a bunch of different games, be it Lord of the Rings or Andrea or whatever they're putting on there, and we'll get to play with a lot of different stuff and meet more people that love to play.
Yeah.
And so hopefully it's take him at his face value and we'll get some good stuff. And if not, well, we've been at it long enough. We know how to make our own.
Yeah. Yeah. And even though, so Grey Wolf has already left, but I still want to bring this up because I think it's a good comment. He skimmed the article, sounds nice, but it's all talk at this point. And that's kind of mimics kind of what we said earlier, that, I am a fan of actions speak louder than words. And, he feels that it right now could just be a PR move, but only time will tell. And I have to agree. I think that time is going to tell if it's a PR move. But I will say, and I think that this is interesting. I had this up on the screen just a second ago, but I wanted to kind of get some comments from you guys. So jumping back over to D&D Beyond, and they've got this partnered content, right? And all of this is content that folks other than Wizards of the Coast have produced. And the fact that they're starting to put, and they're just in the past couple of months alone, we've seen 3 new one-shot wonders put up there. Some monsters of Drakenheim, the Gunslinger class, 2 Crooked Moons, and just this week, Cthulhu by Torchlight. And I that's what I'm wondering is if they are going to start. This will be okay. So this will be my question for Synthetic. Do you think that by them including that section in D&D Beyond, the partnered content, do you think that is the beginnings of a step in building a larger community?
I think it's possible. But I think that they're going to probably take it slow. And the reason that I say that, as I get climbed on by an eldritch horror here, is that I think they're going to be gun shy from what happened in 3rd edition. Whenever they did the open license in 3rd edition, it was the Wild West.
Yeah.
there was some fantastic stuff.
But there
Like,
were some train wrecks too.
Yeah. And I think when you get down to it, it's going to be a question of how do you bring the good stuff without bringing the stuff that, isn't up to par for standards. Now, I've got some books that I absolutely love, but I wouldn't want to bring them to D&D Beyond because I know that they're not up to snuff from
Right.
that wider audience.
Yeah, and I've got a few like that too. So Robert Gray says at least a few of those books were bankrolled by Kickstarter, et cetera, and that's he's specifically talking about the partnered content material there. It's a step in the right direction of good business practice, and they basically get free profit by selling them. And I agree, and I think that listen, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, they are here to make money. Earlier this week they had their shareholders report, and I'm still digging through all the minutes of that, and and seeing exactly what was said. We'll probably be discussing another, that's going to be a topic for another time, but because there's some stuff in there that was pretty interesting. But at the end of the day, they're there to make money. They're not here to be our best friend. That's the cold, harsh reality of it. It is a business world for them. And but like what Robert Gray said, and I'll pop it back up, it's a step in the right direction of a good business practice. And I guess kind of the way I see it is, if I was the head of a multi-million-dollar industry, Dungeons and Dragons, I would be stupid to not include creators on some level in that process of the business. That's only going to help my bottom line. But if I continue to ostracize them, if I continue to do stupid maneuvers like they have in the past, that's only going to cost me business. And I really hope that the words that Dan put out there, I really hope that they're genuine. I like D&D. I'm a big fan of D&D. I have played it since I was, mid 80s, early 80s, 82, 83. I was like 11 years old when I started playing, and I've played other games. I've played other role-playing games, but I always go back to D&D because it's the first game that I really played. And it's also one that I know backwards and forwards. At this point, I don't even need a book to play it. I mean, maybe for some of the finer details, newer stuff too. But, if you wanted to sit down and play a game of AD&D, I got you covered.
Well,
but now, so let me hear from you guys. It'd just be kind of a free for all. Whoever wants to talk, whatever, say whatever's on your mind. I want to hear what y'all have to say about it.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. If it's a business making venture, like role-playing games are at their heart a group of people gathering together to play a game. And building community for WotC is inherent to making money. That's a necessary part of their business model.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make money. You have to, otherwise what's the point of going to work every day?
Fair.
Yeah, and on what you said about if it will make bring people in and make the new communities, I would probably say yes, because if you're bringing in content from D&D groups we know, Exandria being Call of the Netherdeep, we saw that on the partner thing. You're going to get a bunch of people who watch Critical Role, who want to delve into Exandria. They've got a base story. I think ZY said he had an option of running it. So you got those people, and then you've got them introducing also different kinds of mix and match. And that's actually something that's good for DMs. DM could be like, okay, I've got this new gunslinger thing. How could I incorporate it into my world? What sub-organization would explain how it'd be there? And that way you're giving them not only a lore reason, but a way to actually play that class. The only gunslinger class I've been playing is the one that was a Critical Role thing. So the fact there's a new gunslinger with new stuff there, that as a DM, I'll be like, okay, how can I incorporate this? How can I make this fun?
Right.
And one of the cool things about D&D Beyond is that if you buy a book, as long as you invite your players to your campaign setting, they have access to all the contents. They have no need to pay for it themselves.
Right. And that kind of mimics and goes back to what Z was saying is, with Roll20, I mean, they have no choice but to compete on that level. That you know that platform, that other digital platforms like that have been hurting WotC. Now, D20, I mean, Roll20 they still have to pay a licensing fee, to be able to produce or provide the books to players. But I guess kind of the way I see it is, if WotC has their digital platform, Roll20 has theirs. I almost see that WotC is going to stand to make a bigger piece of the pie if people are going direct to them, buying the sources, the source material direct from them, as opposed to the licensing fee that this company and this platform pays. So yeah, I mean, they have to compete on that level at some point.
And I almost pulled the trigger. It was literally 2 weeks before the OGL incident broke. I was going to have a conversation when they were talking about the VTT for D&D Beyond. I was going to ask my players, do we want to transition to D&D Beyond? Because look, they're saying they're going to have 3D maps and everything. It could be fun, could be cool, because it'll give us a lot of cool things that both Foundry and Roll20 will give us and merge it together. And then everything just kind of imploded on D&D Beyond, and so we never made the move.
Right.
But if they, the only reason I can see WotC, or the only thing that's going to get me and my group at least to go to WotC and D&D Beyond, is if they do the third-party content, allow other systems onto their platform, and then they have a large group of developers who can make all of this really good premium content that we can't get anywhere else. Like that 3D maps with multiple levels that can make use of things like Dungeon Alchemist and other things. That is a really powerful tool and a really cool tool, but if WotC doesn't execute very well, it's just going to be another VTT, and everyone is just going to stay where they're already established.
Right. And Drac, I want to get your take on what Brandon Cole says here. I don't see any reason not to take Dan specifically at face value and believe that he is going to try to do what he's saying. And specifically, I want to get your take on it, because you kind of already, you mentioned pretty much what Brandon is saying too, is that, if he has played, if he has had a history of it, he's going to love the game, and that's kind of what you had said earlier too. But the second part, this is what I want your take on. But WotC has a record of getting rid of good people who love the game.
They do. Like, you've seen some guys like Mike Burrows went from designing the game over to playing with Magic.
Right.
And now he's gone. He's in Chaosium. I mean, we have that nice new book.
Yeah.
Perkins and that sort of thing, leaving.
Todd Kendrick, the guy that used to do all the interviews on their, YouTube channel.
Yeah, Todd's fantastic. Letting him go, I don't understand that one whatsoever.
I can't figure that one out either.
The guys, like, if they had someone else on, I tended not to watch. But Todd was on, I would go and I'd watch, and it'd be like, oh, I didn't get to see this one. Let's download it and take it to work, and I'll watch it on lunch break. And now I'm doing it off of his channel rather than D&D's channel. So, not like, I imagine that Perkins had been there long enough, Mike Morrells had been there long enough, that they've got a healthy salary. And yes, you got to make enough money to say, okay, I can keep these guys. I understand the business aspect of that. But when they're such established names and they've got the track record of knowing the game inside and out, and like Perkins, and he'll be an issue of Dragon Magazine, and he rhymes off the thing. And that's just fantastic. And you can't replace that type of knowledge. It's really, really difficult. So,
and I for one, I would love to see, just a real quick aside, I would love to see Dragon Magazine come back, even if it's in digital form.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I would, I know I've got a few left, but I would like some new ones. I like hard copies, really, even if we had to pay, like, here's your digital subscription, but for an extra $100 a year, we'll send you 6 issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to me. I'm getting my Dragon magazine. And they throw in a couple of issues of Dungeon magazine once or twice a year.
All the better. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm back in like teenage years happiness,
Yeah.
So,
Well, provided that the content is good.
well, yes. That's like you guys were talking about Eve of Ruin earlier. I'm running it, and I was actually going to be working on Kaz tonight because that's the next fight coming up. And so, I've had to go in and take that adventure outline. I want to call it an outline because you got to flesh it out and make it right for your table. So it's always going to be, anything they publish as an outline. But some of the third-party creators are putting other things in there that you don't have to flesh out as a DM.
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy that we have third-party creators that are making good content. Emphasis on good content. I mean, I don't want to be like 3rd edition where it was like you pick up a book and it's like, that's just broken. Put that back. Okay, pick up the next one. Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
That's my fear. But if Dan opens it up, we are going to have that sort of thing happen to some degree. So we get to pick and choose, and hopefully we'll have more of these where we can go, hey, this one's good. Check this out.
Well, and that's kind of what, that's always been the focus for me and my channel is to, dive into stuff, and I'm happy to get the copies and check them out and tell people if they're any good. And that was my big complaint with Eve of Ruin is as it just wasn't great. I mean, it just, so I mean, I went through and did a whole fix for it, and kind of gave that to everybody, as a way to say, hey, I like the character. I thought Vecna has always been kick ass, and of course my experience with Vecna goes all the way back, and going all the way back to the old modules like Die Vecna Die and Vecna Lives, and
I have that.
And they're great modules, and that's what I would have liked to have seen is something that tied the past to the present. And they kind of tried to do that with Eve of Ruin, by bringing up like the historical settings and that kind of thing. They just missed the mark. They missed the mark on that one.
It feels like, when you see a band just do their final tour and you go around and hit all the bases.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's like, oh gosh. Well, I hope he doesn't die next week.
And we just seen that.
I know. That's what's going through my mind is, oh crap. Yeah, we just saw that happen.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I'm like, I want to run Eve of Ruin, but I'm trying to make it a decent story by weaving together multiple adventures to at least make the beginning at least worth it before Eve of Ruin hits.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, you have to sift through WotC's adventures to get ones that are good to run. Like the last time I really enjoyed a WotC adventure was Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And that one, I ended up running it for my home game, and spoilers for minor parts. One of the sisters ended up like eating the other two and becoming like a god. So,
Nice.
Obviously that
you kind of you took a little side road there then.
But it's still a wonderful adventure.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the big thing is, you anything that's put out there, even if it's official stuff by WotC, even by third-party creators, you're going to have to edit stuff. You're going to have to remove bits of material. You're going to have to add other bits of material to make it work and flow for your table. I mean, if you have a Tabaxi rogue, that's really agile and adept at jumping and acrobatics and whatnot, but the adventure that you're running, I'll go back to It's escaping me. Temple of Evil. I'll go back to an old classic one. Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yeah.
That's not very conducive to somebody that can jump and flip and do stuff. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of traps, but there are a lot of deadly places in that if you jump in the wrong spot, you're done. So even a classic adventure like that would necessitate editing and altering so that it would work at your table. I don't think any DM wants to, well, we're going to play this one as it is. I don't care what class you're playing. I don't care what character you're playing. If you're playing the wrong character, you're just going to die. I don't think there's a DM out there that's like that.
It's really hard to keep some people alive without all the changes that you need to make.
I'll grant you that. There are some, and of course, yeah. I've certainly had my fair share of players that just, I'm going to open the chest. Oh, are you going to just walk up to it? Yeah, just I'll walk up to it and open it. Okay. If that's what you want to do, do you want to roll for, check for traps? Nah. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, there are some bonehead moves that I've seen some players make, but
the closest I can get to is for an out-of-the-box adventure is Sunless Citadel from 3rd edition. I will always bring that up as like a near perfect introductory adventure.
Yeah.
I have not tried that.
It's well worth your time. It's available on DM's Guild, like for the classics.
Nice.
Also, one thing about being a new DM is about hearing all these like cool stories, these adventures. It makes me want to be like, okay, I need to have a list. Beyond the Witch Sites could be one of them after hearing about that. So that's definitely going to be on my list of stuff to one day run.
Well, I think that I've pretty much talked about all the various talking points that I really wanted to get to with Dan's article. I think at the end of the day, again, let me pop it back up here for a second. I think at the end of the day that it like what we've established, I think the words are good words. I want to take it at face value, and I really, really hope that it's genuine and authentic. Hope, however, can be a very dangerous word. Everybody watching knows gamers. We hold grudges forever. And I want more than anything, I want to see D&D be successful. I want to see, I have a dream of living in a reality that mimics my at table play. I don't know anybody here, in this panel included, I don't know anybody that is a fan of this channel, a fan of role-playing games, that wouldn't want the same kind of experience. I'm going to throw the link in again to this article for anybody that's tuning in. So bear with me for just a second. If anybody, if you panelists, feel free to talk.
I've got a question for you guys, because I really haven't had much luck with it yet. What do you guys think of the maps that are on there? Because I really don't know how to use them.
Do you need the maps on Beyond the virtual map tool?
Yeah.
I've used it a few times when I ran Core the Netherdeep. It was in beta. I think it is still in beta at the moment. It's still adding features to it, but it was quite fun to use, like being able to use the monster tokens, being able to drag my player tokens around, the fog. Like literally, it was quite cool. I had a friend who used the one I talked about earlier about the Sekai game. They use Roll20 for their games, but I found Roll20 to be a bit complicated since I'm still new to the thing. And D&D Beyond is like a more simplified version. It's like an introduction before you might want to jump onto something that's a bit more customization intensive as Roll20s. But there's still any stuff to the thing, and it's still a lot of fun to use. Like they're constantly updating it, changing it, and I think they're just like saying use this until we got our 3D version that's still in development.
This be canceled. Yeah, they canceled Sigil a while ago.
Did they?
It hasn't actually. It hasn't
Oh.
been canceled. It just. I mean, well, okay. Their original vision for it, yes, is gone. You can still get access to it. You can still use it, but it's not going to be anywhere close to what they were originally advertising it to be.
Okay.
I guess the only thing that I can hope for with D&D Beyond is that they get really good map support and really cool effects and other things that you can plug in, especially if you have something like a Stream Deck. That's something that I have recently got a lot of modules from Foundry, which let me do all sorts of really cool effects, play sound effects and things like that with just a touch of a button.
Oh, cool.
So if D&D Beyond can do something like that and catch up, I think maybe. But if it's just going to be another VTT, then I don't know, man. Like if they're just going to offer the same stuff.
What's the point? Yeah.
So my question would be, are they going to have like, the other map creators, Chepegu and all these guys come in and supply maps like they do with the books? Can you go in and buy their map packages that way? I don't know if that's in their plans or not, or if I just like gave somebody over there a great idea. But I'm new to the virtual play. I mean, I've got a room for playing, and so do a couple of my players. So, we haven't really touched on virtual yet, but it's something we're looking at in the near future. And so I've got a lot of questions when it comes to that sort of thing.
Well, if you're looking for like the simplest of the simple to get you started, Owlbear Rodeo is your friend.
I've heard a lot of good things about Owlbear.
Owlbear is no frills, but it's also no subscription, no like payment for it or anything.
I own Foundry.
Well, once you've invested in Foundry, you're using Foundry then.
Yeah, Foundry's like, it's like, well, I want to learn Linux. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's powerful, but yeah, I don't know how to program myself. So a friend of mine who does, he's been learning how to program specifically for Foundry outside of work. And it's such an incredibly powerful VTT.
One of my players uses it and uses it for his family, and they play online. And he's like, just buy that one, and then I can teach you. And other than a few little things along the way, I'll have a guide to set things up for my players. But like I said, it's all new to me. So if you see me in Discord asking a million questions, or be like, hey, I discovered this, and they'll be like, yeah, he's a noob guy at that,
Okay, all of you guys are part of the Discord, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'll let the four of you give me the decision making here. Would y'all benefit from me adding a specific channel in there for VTT? Like just to have, to ask the random questions, or to post the screenshots, or, just share whatever information you want to share?
It's not a bad idea. I suppose that because as Drac was asking, like he still wants to understand how the VTT works. So having a channel where anyone could just post a question like, how do we do this? Or just simple questions, it probably would help. Probably would improve players' understanding of the system and being able to run their games a little bit better. It's my opinion.
What should it be called?
Oh, with the power of the name.
That's always the challenge for me, is when I decide to create, we're going to CCGs. Well, that's a simple name. VTTs.
VTT help?
VTT help?
And input.
Input.
Yeah, so if you want to drop a screenshot, you don't feel bad about dropping it in there going, wait a minute, did I actually supposed to do that?
There we go. It's just been added.
Hey.
Ew.
If I can figure out where I added it. I'll move it a little bit closer up to the top. So yeah, if anybody wants to jump in. check it out.
Warren Rawlings just said VTT SOS. That's awesome.
Oh, that is a good one.
VTTSOS.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is a good one.
How many more letters can we add to that?
I might just need to park in there like permanently for like the next 2-3 years. You guys would be like, oh, it's that guy again. Yeah.
There we go. Thanks, Warren. That works perfectly. VTT SOS. I don't. It's anyway. It's in the Discord now. If anybody has anything they'd like to share or questions. So
That's cool.
Well, guys, I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out for a bit. And, I really like all the comments that y'all gave. And I don't know, I guess time will tell, if WotC is authentic and genuine in their statement.
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a blast.
yeah.
Well, we'll have to certainly do it again. I really want to start concentrating on doing some more live streams. I like connecting with people. Years upon years ago, I had a game store, and that was always one of the fun aspects to me was, the everybody from all walks of various fans, various games, fans of various games. That's what I'm trying to say. We could come in and just everybody would just stand around and bullshit with each other, and just talk shop. And it was just so much fun. And I greatly miss those days. So this is my version of this is my therapy. This is me standing around with my friends at the game store talking shop, and sometimes we'd get in some pretty wacky and bizarre discussions about time travel and,
Well, the next channel is going to be like GameMasters Table, and we get together regularly to do this.
You just gave him the idea of the title. The new
I know.
series has been made. Game Masters Table.
The gears are turning.
Yeah.
We'll have to make that happen.
The podcast begins.
So anyway, before we do close out, any final words? We'll go again around the clock. We'll go counterclockwise this time. Start Drac. Any final words?
We're going to hope for the best. They have potential. They have the money to make things good.
Yes.
And if the third-party content that they bring in is good, we should have something that's great. Hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with that. Death Knight?
Agree with Drac. If they do well with the third party, just bringing in the communities from the different communities that are fans of these sort of content, then it would go well in the long run. Being able to visit Exandria, visit these other worlds, learning their stories, their lore, and just having a fun time if they do it right. That's what I'm looking forward to. If they do it right.
That's the key right there. If they do
That
it
is
right.
the key.
Yeah. Z?
Just cautiously optimistic. Like Drac said, they have the financial ability to make an amazing VTT, and whether or not the people at the top let them actually use that financial wealth to make something that could blow everything else out of the water, time will tell. But I hope that whoever is up there at the helm realizes that they have the ability to make something that could quickly monopolize the VTT atmosphere and actually lets them implement it.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And Synthetic.
I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've been burned by WotC before, so I approach it with a healthy amount of skepticism.
Yeah.
But I think that the best thing to come from this conversation is we're waiting for the Game Masters Table podcast.
Yeah, I think we need to make that happen. I think I think it could be fun. We'll need to settle on a day where everybody's available, but I'd also like to have it rotating so that anybody that wants to can just jump in at any point. So we'll work on that. We'll develop that in the Discord and see if we can't make that work. So my wrapping up, my 2 cents worth, I can't say it any better than Synthetic has, than Z has, than Death Knight and Drac have said it. WotC definitely has through Hasbro at least, has the pockets. You know, they have the wallet to be able to pull this off. The question is, are they going to do a stupid move first and cause all the fans to just no? You've dangled the carrot in front of us for too long. This is the final straw. You've just screwed up again. We're out. That's already happened to some people. I think Dan has put forth some good words. Like what we've said earlier tonight, time will tell whether or not their actions are going to follow through. I'll leave everybody with this final thought. Gen Con is this week, and I can't help but wonder if the article that Dan wrote is a precursor to some bigger news that's going to be happening or released at Gen Con. I'm going to try to keep my finger on that pulse. I've got a couple of spies that are going to Gen Con. I'm not, unfortunately, but I have a couple of spies that are going. So if we learn of any news, it'll probably break on my Discord first. And then, of course, I'll run straight to YouTube and start blathering about it. So anyway, guys, I want to appreciate everybody for joining. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I do look forward to the Game Masters table. We'll see what that future holds. And unlike what WotC has done, I'm going to follow through with action on that. So everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. And I hope everybody's game, their next game that you run or play in, is full of high adventure. And until next our paths cross, may everybody roll 20s.